And thank you for joining us on this Report In interview. My name is Estivo from Report Out. Hi, Dominique. Thank you for joining us. Would you mind introducing yourself and your organization?
First, I would like to say thank you for the opportunity. It is always a pleasure to participate in uh, such opportunities. My name is Dominique St. I'm from Haiti. I'm the lead responsible of an organization named Organisation Trans d'Haïti, or Trans Organization of Haiti. We work with transgender persons in trying to provide support in terms of assistance with gender identity affirmation, such as taking hormones or going through surgery if possible. And also we assist them in providing trainings and capacity building when it comes to human rights tools, how to use them, how to make reports when it comes to discrimination and stigmatization. We also provide support when it comes to GBV, gender-based violence, when they are victims of such situation, and how they can report and how they can be assisted to have to really proceed with any situation, so we can really have data regarding that, because most of the time when it comes to the situation, you do not have any numbers, any form of report that stated that transgender persons was victims of such activities. And also we are trying to provide support when it comes to health, specifically mental health issues. We know that in the trans community, many of them has been going through a lot, especially when it comes to trans identity. It's not easy to really fit in and recognize yourself as such, and also try to live in such a way that you can really fulfill feel fulfilled in everything and participate in the social life. And most of the time, we also know that in families, they are always rejected. So we try as much as possible to guide them and to orient them in the direction of speaking to people or speaking to persons that are really appropriate to that kind of situation. And also we try to provide housing when it's possible. It is not easy, but we have many projects that we are trying to implement it, and project that could give such assistance in providing housing. And what else? For now, in terms of advocacy, we are focusing in working with other institutions, specifically institutions that have their expertise in law, so we can really provide support and also do some advocacy when it comes to the legal recognition of names for transgender persons. And yeah, this is it for now. That's what OTRAH does.
That's a lot of great job that you're doing. When did you start your organization? When did you start?
It became an organization in May 2017.
Okay.
But it was first a cell in Courage, LBT cell that regrouped lesbian and bisexual and transgender persons. And we've come to realize that most of the person that were participating were trans men and trans women. So we felt the need to really put their voice out there, because there were no institution representing their needs. And we also realized that most of the time, many LGBTIQ institutions in Haiti are represented by male persons and homosexual, and I could say there is no such thing as representation of lesbian or bisexual queer persons or transgender person or intersexual persons in Haiti. So we wanted to provide the place so that these people can feel represented.
That's really interesting what you said, because me myself, even myself as a gay person, I found out that I think that in our community there's kind of this the gay community has kind of a bit more presence and help than the rest of the community. That's that's why I feel, even as a gay person. So it's really interesting to.
Yeah, and this is a realization that not many leaders are willing to admit, but this is a reality of the situation. Most help in most institutions have been focusing on HIV and HIV positive situation when they are describing the needs and describing the person, the minorities that are more at risk. It's always the male. And inside the male, you can find the transgender women that are completely immersed in that number. And this is why we wanted to really make the separation, not because we want to be different from them, but because they do have different needs and they do need to be represented. Because aside of the the sexual orientation, which can come later in life, but the gender identity always appears on very early, at an early age. People that are transgender come to realize their trans identity since they are 6 years old or 2 years old. And that require a certain accompaniment for parents to really guide these children instead of rejecting them, because we might not have numbers yet in Haiti, but we do know that many kids, transgender kids, have been rejected, or they've been committed suicide. And these numbers, we have to find a way to prevent this kind of situation.
That's another interesting thing that you were saying. I was watching on YouTube some video this week about, actually, I think there's a law, I don't remember where in America, where they, I think they want to allow kids, transgender kids, to even transition or to start transitioning when they are kids. What do you think about this?
It is a pretty difficult task. Why did I'm saying it is because in a society where things have been set up in certain ways, it is pretty difficult to come with new standards, new way of not only because for people, for I won't say normal, for general people, it's transgender identity. It looks like a sickness, even though it is not, because they have been grown in such way and learning about it the wrong way. So I won't say that I completely agree to let children make the transition since they're a kid. But one of the things I've realized is the kids that we have in 1919, they're not the same with our generation. The generation these days, they are more upfront, and they do know how to describe their feelings. They do know how to describe themselves. So, which means it could be a great thing to do that, but it will need the right settings, the right person accompanying them. That will require to have a lot of follow-up, specifically when it comes to mental health and assistance. So for me, that could be a great opportunity to preserve trans kids and let them fulfill themselves and become adult, but for other countries that might not be the best possible route to achieve that.
Actually, talking about Haiti, what is the current legal situation for sexual and gender minorities in your nations?
Pretty rough. I could say there's no recognition of sexual minorities. We are used. I could say we are used. I'm saying we are used because when it comes to situation about sickness that are related to sexual orientation, yes, we are involved, but when it comes to rights, human rights, when it comes to recognition from the state, when it comes to participation in the society, we do not exist. And I don't think that should be the case. I don't think this is the best way to create any possible ways for human being to involve in society. I think for instance, government, citizens of a certain country that deserve the recognition of being citizens of that country. They are participating, they are living in such country, especially when that country is pretty difficult. Everybody is trying to free Haiti, but for those who stay, for those who are there, they need to be recognized as part of the nation, as person that are participating, and they need to be recognized because not only that recognition is their right, but also it could help certain situation. It's not only when there's political issues and when they need votes, they should think about us. They should be thinking about the population in general, what are their issues, and each category deserve that. I'm not speaking not only for transgender person, but each Asian person should be seen with their own issues, with their own difficulties, and the government as the mandatory request to try to help, to try to support in any way that they can. So the situation is pretty difficult for any person that is part of that community, but I'm not going to say it is worse for transgender persons, but there has been some successful stories, some success accusation for the LGBTIQ community. I won't say in general, but for gay persons, specifically gay male, but for transgender persons, it is very difficult for us to be accepted by the society. And most of the time it's because the fight has been going one way instead of englobing the whole community itself.
I totally agree. What is the stance of political and religious leaders towards sexual and gender minorities in Haiti?
Always the same. They are always quiet in times of trouble, in times of crisis, such as the one that we are going through now. I think that could be practically a year without president, and really
terrible story. It was terrible story.
Yes, the things are escalating, and we have all kind of crises, financial crises, economical crises, and that part of that groupment, the religious groupment, is nowhere to be seen. There's no protest about that. They're not participating. They're not raising their voice against anything. But trust me, if there's any bill right now that is recognizing LGBTIQ persons as citizens of Haiti, you will hear from them. They will be in the street protesting, but there's been kidnapping for at least a year. Nobody's saying anything. I think that this groupment needs to really change their views, because we are all Asian, we are all sharing the same land. We are all citizens of Haiti, and we would love for our country to thrive, to become better. And it needs the participation of every one of us. each and every one of us. And solidarity, it's time for solidarity, not time to really be being against each other. So the religious sector is really not inclusive at all. And that hasn't changed. That hasn't changed so far.
Do you get any help or support from the government for your organization?
No, government does not do not do such things. As I stated before, one of the areas where you can find the government institution participating in collaboration with trans community or LGBTIQ institutions is only when it comes to the health sector. You will really find those two institutions working together. But when it comes to other things, for example, when it comes to social participation, political participation, no, we are absent. And one of the things that has really struck me, it's been the third time that I've been participating in that event that happens every February. I think, no, not February. When is it's International HIV, not HIV, International SIDA AIDS Day.
Yep.
I think. Yes, every time it happens, some institution out there, we are participating. We are carrying that fight on our back, but we are never acknowledged as a partner who is really involved in what is happening on the ground. No, all other institutions are always there, and they receive awards and stuff, but the LGBTIQ community, the grassroots organization that are helping on the ground, that are really doing the work, they are never acknowledged. I'm not saying we should be receiving awards, but we should be acknowledged, because we are a big part of what is happening. And so far that has not been done. And until other institutions are willing to, how can I say that? Until other institutions are willing to stand with us, to recognize us, the government is not going to do so. They will disregard our presence. They will disregard who we are and what we are doing.
What are social and cultural attitudes towards sexual and gender minorities in Haiti?
I didn't quite catch that.
Yes, what are social and cultural attitudes from the people in general, from the general public? What is the attitude towards sexual and gender minorities in Haiti?
Culturally, I could say from what we've seen so far, culturally we are not accepted. Because sometimes I heard people saying about the voodoo community that we are accepted in the voodoo community. We are tolerated. We're not accepted or respected anywhere. I've had experiences with young people that are from voodoo roots. They have the family that are voodooism, that are voodoo priests and priestess. And once they make their coming out, they've been rejected from their whole family.
Really?
Yes. And for me, that says a lot. Yes, we participate in events organized by for the community. We are a big part of it. And I could say they tolerate us for some reason, but we are not respected. We are not accepted as part of that community. And it's not only when it comes to the voodoo sector, it is for every other sector. When you are an LGBTIQ person and you evolving in any different areas of the social life, you have to put as double of even more efforts than anybody else to be seen or
Yeah.
to be successful. And it is in every level, whether it is professionally, whether it is standard professional career, or it is an informal professional career. It is the same for each and every one of us. And I finally realized, and I think that everybody would agree with me, that's why one of the reasons why many of the persons that are LGBTIQ persons and that are professionals, formal professionals, they do not agree to present themselves as an LGBTIQ person, because this will mean the end of their career or the end of what they know as their life actually, and we cannot blame them for that. And even though we need them in the fight, we need them to stand up, but we cannot ask that from somebody that is not a human rights defender. And this is a big uh, it is a big thing to do. It is a very big decision, and we cannot ask anybody to do that. Only a person that feels involved, that feels concerned about what's going on, that will at least participate in such ways. But the socially, I think there's been we can say there's been some progress. And we are something that we are people that they talk about. We can see on the media that there's a lot of controversial subject about homosexuality, about transgender persons. And this is a big step. This is a great step, but we need to take another level of the fight, instead of always trying to educate people. We should keep educating people, but there should be more space, more recognition for the LGBTIQ population.
Yeah, how does, you were talking about the media? How does the media portray the gender minorities in Haiti?
I think that we are some kind of an attraction.
Okay.
And also it is a way of being seen as a media. A media that is always putting out their controversial subject and giving voice to minorities is a media that, even though people are not really I could say, are not in favor, but they will be curious, they will be willing to watch or to look or to read about it. And this is one point that the media has gathered. And for us, the community, I think that we do not play our part well, because we are somehow being used and we do not get much advantages from that. And
what do you mean by being used?
I said being used. For example, I know many media that were unknown by the public. And one thing that they had to do is to present some homosexual personage or LGBTIQ personage, even though it's somebody that, yes, that is part of the community, but that is painting the community badly. I could tell, as example, we know many of them. We know Mendel, we know Lauren Haiti. There's a lot of them, and they are always on show talking, or on the social media talking about the community, even though they are not human rights defender. And the image that they are sending for us this is how they paint us. And the stereotype of people being gay are always funny, or people being gay are always joking. So this is the image that the society is perceiving for us. So yes, in some ways we are being used, and I think we do not take advantage of that opportunity to be present in the media and to do something strong and better for the community, so the people can see us differently from that image that has been sent for years, that has been given for years for the community. So yeah, I do love the participation of the media, but the media has really to be doing, of course they will go to have presentation from these people because it means more views, but there could be a balance in this. You can always give them more views without doing something educational for the whole society, but you could also balance it and do once in a while have somebody from the activists that knows about human right, that knows about LGBTIQ right, speak about the community, speak how the community live, what are the difficulties that we are encountering, because for some people in the general population, we are people that we are not even human beings. They don't think that we have feelings. They don't think that we are smart. They don't think that we are intelligent, that we educated. They don't know these things about us. Once you speak about LGBTIQ people, they have a certain description of you that they feed that have fitted for you. But we have to break down this description and bring new endeavor, new light regarding that community. It is very important.
Definitely, yes. And I think there's in the last few years there have been more visibility, in our community, and also in the trans community, which is great. And I think as you were saying before, I think it's great to see the young people as well. I think they have made, some of them are because they've been more they have more information, so they're more okay with with their gender or how they identify themselves, and they're a bit more open to talking about their gender, their sexuality, and I think it's great. It's not, of course, everywhere the same in every country. Have you got any big representation or famous representation in Haiti? So some famous people, maybe in the
from the trans community, like people community that has represented the community, persons. Not that I know of. Most person that are representing the trans community are from the activist community. There are people that are human rights defenders, as myself, and if there is other people representing as people that are famous, they are not from the trans community. They might be from the LGBTIQ or maybe the gay community itself, but not the trans community. And the most known person we knew was Charles Judy so far, and he had great reputation and he was well known everywhere. And so far, we are trying to make visibility for the activists of the community, so they can be the ones speaking in behalf of the community, explaining what is going on, instead of having people that are not involved in the fight and speaking from personal experience, which is not a bad thing. But many persons, specifically gay persons, that are famous and that has been speaking for the community, they speak about their experience, but their experience is very different from on the ground. People that are really struggling to be seen, people that are really struggling to live their life as a person and have a sexual orientation without being pushed back or without being rejected. These are the testimony that we need to put forward, not the testimony of people that somehow are strive in life and are not, that do not have the same experience. And that is one of the stereotypes that people build regarding transgender persons or gay persons. And I'm pretty sure you can relate. In AD, whenever somebody is from that community, you're gay or you're lesbian or you're transsexual, one of the things that people always tell you is like, it's something that you use to make money. It's not a business. It's part of you. it's who you are. It's the way you love people. You love differently, and that's it. But you're still a human being. But people do not see it like that. They see it like it's a bridge to go to become famous, or a bridge to have money, or it is like like a job, but it's not. And I think it's time that we really break down those wrong assessments about the community.
Definitely, yes. And you- how does the medical establishment treat sexual minorities in Haiti? Do you get some help for from like can you get like all your all that you need to transition in Haiti? Is it
No, there's no such thing. There's no
no?
such thing. No, no. So far, I know we have good collaboration with not MSPP, but there's another institution that is part of the Ministry of Health, Population Health Population, and I can quite it's PNLS. We had great collaboration with PNLS, and we know that they have been doing their best to help the community in general, but it's always in terms of HIV, in regard of HIV, the HIV pandemic, not in terms of general health, like general assistance, mental health assistance, and assistance to have gender recognition or gender affirmation therapy. No, there's no such thing. It's only the grassroots from what they have from their pocket, or from what they gather, the fund that they receive. We've been trying so far to have our people get the treatment that they need, specifically when it comes to hormonotherapy or gender affirming surgeries. But that is not quite easy, because not only we do not have any medical assistance in Haiti for that, but we can't even find any hormones. Even in the Dominican Republic, is pretty difficult. And so far, we've been trying to get in touch with some institution from the Dominican Republic, so we can really make the bridge in
Yeah.
between Haiti and Dominican Republic, so they can go to Dominican Republic and start their hormonotherapy, and then later on, if the possibility becomes real, to have their surgery done. But so
Oh,
far, no.
everything is done in the Dominican Republic and not
Yes,
in Haiti.
most
Yeah.
thing. What we are planning to do is to, instead of having them always crossing the borders, because the situation sometimes in between Dominican Republic and Haiti is not that easy to live. And also there's the problem with financial means, somebody to travel there, you have to have money. So we are building a program so we can assist them, so they can really go to Dominican Republic for the first assessment, medical assessment, having their exams done, their psychological assessment done, and then once they have the go-to, they'll be able to take the hormones. And the plan is to buy the hormones in gross, and come with it, come with these hormones in Haiti, and have it available at OTRAH. So whenever somebody that has already go to Dominican and that has the go-to will have a card, and you can come and have your hormone shot and your hormone therapy, your pills being made here in Haiti. But so far we are not too close, but not too far. We're trying.
Wow. And is there like any other difficulty that you're facing, or that you're helping with because you were talking about housing as well?
Yes, I talk about housing. There's a lot of difficulties. There's
Yeah.
housing is really difficult for young transgender, but also for seniors. I know
Mhm.
many they have to go back to the closet because they are getting old, and they are still living with their family who do not accept them, and so they stop living as transgender, or they stop living as homosexual or lesbians, just because they are getting old and they have nowhere else to go instead of staying with their family. So it is pretty difficult for them. And there's the issue also of food, especially when in times of crisis such as this one. And you know that socially, politically, Haiti is very unstable. And when that instability is going strong, which means it is pretty difficult to find food. The food is really expensive. So we are trying to find a way in which we can provide that, but it is really not easy. So what we do sometimes, if we do have the means, we spare some money and buy food, and we provide a meal whenever it's possible. So anybody that has difficulty can always come by and have a meal during the day. So this is all we can do for now.
Hi, and we are back. Sorry about that. So yeah, Dominique, you were telling us about your funding, and you were getting where you were getting your funding from.
Yes, I was explaining that there's different kind of funding, and so far I think we've been through 4 or 3 funding from different institutions. First one was with COC Netherlands, from the Netherlands, and they are from the Caribbean anymore. And the second one is from Outright, and it's been over now because it was for 6 months. And we are funding from the a program, a USA program actually, which is the Global Fund, GF, and also from PEPFAR. But these fundings are part of a bigger system, and it's mostly for HIV positive programs. And we've been participating. It's pretty successful because one of the things that I appreciated about these fundings, because they've given trainings, they've given capacity building before, and then entertain the possibility of giving funding to institution that has followed all through the process of capacity building. So far, it's this institution, and I cannot. I have also to mention that we had funding from CAISO, I think it's an institution from the US or from, I don't remember which place they are from, but I do know that they have personals in the US. And also we had funding from UC Trans, which is the United Trans Caribbean Network, and that happened on 2020 after the earthquake, not even the earthquake. It was at the time the pandemic was at its in Haiti. So yes, so far that's the funding that we've been having.
Right. You said you were getting some training as well. What type of training?
Yes, training that normally we receive, or capacity building. When I say capacity building, it's in terms of um uh, project management. Yes, mostly project management or management in general for institutions, such as how to manage human resources, how to manage programs. And especially when they give these kind of trainings, is because you are about to receive the fund, and they have a specific way they want you to provide the reports
of course,
that funding. So which means that they give you the training so you can be able to provide that report on time and with correct how can I say that, draft that they have submitted to you. Usually that's the way it goes. And what the difficulty that I have, that we all have as grassroots institution with this funding, is they do not take into consideration the fact that most of the time grassroots institution specifically those that are LGBTIQ ones have difficulty to be registered. Those who are registered, no, usually they do not register under a name that stated clearly that they are LGBTIQ institution. And second problem is when they give you the funding, they also tell you where you have to use that funding, in which area. And sometimes this area, it's irrelevant from the issue that is really in need of assistance on the ground. So it's not possible. And also they do not take into consideration the fact that most time when the funding arrives, it depends on the social and political situation in the country, because sometimes you do receive the funding, but it is pretty difficult for you to implement the action that you wanted to implement, because this action from that timeline is not relevant from what is happening on the ground. For example, if I had received funding um, uh, uh, to do training, and at the time I received it, it was relevant to do the training with my staff, and suddenly there's been a gunshot, and there's a pandemic such as the COVID, and people will not want to come to trainings because they are dealing with the health issues, and or they are busy dealing with saving their lives because of the shooting. So at that time, that kind of action is irrelevant to to what needs to be done. And I won't really be able to implement that action without the participation of this of the groupment. So I have to be able to implement with them. If it's not with them, it's not worth my time, and it's not worth the possibility that I have. So yes, this is one of the issue with the funding. But some funding are really flexible, but not all of them. Most of them are really tight, and they have rules, and they expect you to do such things at a certain amount of time.
And is there, because of course you said you're not recognized by government, things like that, but is there any like resistance from sexual and gender minorities, like maybe, I don't know, like groups or places where you can all meet, or even there's no not such a thing like a pride or thing like that. Is there like any?
We do not have pride. It's pretty difficult to have pride in Haiti because of safety issues, security issues. It's you have to guarantee the security of these people, and you do not have the participation or the support of the institutions that are there to reinforce security in the country. The country is not safe for people that are just going to work. So let alone to do a pride, that would be pretty not, that will not be relevant from the situation. But we do celebrate certain dates, and we've tried to do it together, but it does not always work because we do not have the same agenda. And most institutions, for me, the issue is most institutions are in the capital. There's only a few that are in the countryside. So being in the capital, if there's an action that is being implemented for one day, everybody's doing the same thing at the same time, instead of doing a general action. Like there could be several events happening in different institutions, but part of the same program, but we do not do it like that. Must see everybody has their own thing going on. But we do celebrate May 17th, which is the International Day Against Homophobia and Transphobia. As a trans institution, we are trying to implement the celebration of dates such as the 21st of March, which is the Transgender Day of Visibility. There's also the Transgender Day of Remembrance that we are really trying to let people get accustomed to celebrating or participating in memorial for people that has leave us or that has died during that fight. And also we are trying to implement the date of, I think is the 10th of November, not 10th of November, 10th of December, which is the International Day for uh, um, the Declaration of Human Rights, and which is a date that is pretty important for us. And it's like a legacy because we want the youth to know these dates, to know what it means and where we are coming from, what we are standing for, and what we need to accomplish. And I think day by day, years after years, we are trying to add several dates, and maybe one day we will have Pride, but for now we do not have Pride. We sometimes do have celebration, but not Pride. It's because it's not safe to do Pride in Haiti.
And is there like any safe places or LGBTQI plus friendly places in Haiti where you can all meet up?
We do we have safe places? We try to provide safe places. We try to provide safe places in terms of, but we have to still be careful.
Yeah.
I know certain places that are gay clubs, not clubs, not gay club. There's only two that we know of, and we prefer to keep these locations secrets because we do not want,
of course,
not institution, but people that are with bad intentions to go in and mess up everything. So
yeah, of course.
But most of the safe place are the local organization localization where they are, so people can come and they meet, which is pretty amazing. That's why every institution is always trying to have enough funding to get a location, to get a space, because most of the time this is where they come, the community come to really to unwind, to talk, to have fun. So we want to, as much as possible, keep this space open, entertained, so they can always have some place to come. And this is one of the reason also every program that we are doing is always centered in the location, because the location is like how can I say that, is it's like a center, it's like a LGBTIQ center from any other country, but with different standards, more small, and also with less activity, but we are trying to implement it more and more activity every year.
Is there like any projects that you are working on at the moment that you would like to talk about?
No, I've already talked about the projects that.
Yeah, cool.
The project that is really dear to my heart is the hormone therapy project. That project for me is really important because I've seen many youth struggling to get their gender identity, their gender affirmation going on, and they've been taking all the medication that is not good for their health, but they still taking it because they get results from it. Like I know they take contraceptive pills for women. The trans women, they do take contraceptive pills for women because it has estrogen, and it enhances.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Enhance feminine feminine, how can I say that, visible feminine aspect of their bodies, and but it has side effects, and we do not have the means to procure support when these side effects happen. So most likely what we need to do is to provide the appropriate medication for their hormone therapy. And the second project that we really are focusing on is a project that we call translegal. We call it translegal because we want to work with the legal aspect, within the legal aspect of justice in the country. We want to work with the lawyers and the magistrate and the judges to see how we can really find a way to gather data regarding gender-based violence and discrimination and stigmatization against the community. And the plan is to really implement cells of surveillance inside the courts or inside the police station that really can accompany the transgender person when they come to really report something that has happened, instead of being of facing mockery or facing rejections.
Yeah.
People that understand them, and
Yeah.
these reports will be put together to have to gather data, so we can know exactly how many transgender are complaining from these situations so far. But yes, that project is not being implemented, but it's been written, and we are trying to get funding for those two projects so far.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's a great project. I was interviewing an activist from Nigeria, and he was telling me that, you know, that the same, that the more we're gonna have people from our community who have good position, as you said, like lawyers or even in the police or in every department, that will help as well our community, because sometimes we cannot only rely on allies as well, but we need to have more people of our community, even if they're not out, but at least they will understand and help. Because yeah, as you said, like, if you know, every time you have to report something and you don't feel safe or even free, or you know, to go and report anything, or even just ask for help, you know, we need to have more doctors and more.
Yes.
I mean, they're there, but I mean,
Yeah,
because
definitely. Yeah, they are. We
but
need to
we
make
everywhere, but it's
to engage in what is being done. And
yeah,
it's not only for trans or for a gay person. They need to be involved. One of the things that I've realized is we do not have that legacy of benevolent, I could say voluntary work in Haiti. We do not believe in that. We do not practice it. And it's something really sad, because most of the time we do not realize that most of the countries that are free countries that are thriving, it's because of that. It's
yeah,
because people are getting involved. People know when something is not going right, and they know that they have to get involved to make it change.
definitely. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Um. Yeah. No. Definitely. It's. I mean. I'm always amazed and really. Um, yeah, amazed by people like you who are doing such a great work in places who are not easy to work, and you really have to be congratulated, because you're
Thank you.
doing an amazing job,
Roger.
and it's like, as you just said, it's people like you who are making an impact and a change, and that's really amazing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anything else you would like to say about human rights and gender humanity
Um, not
in the
much,
country?
much. What I would love to say is, as I said just a few minutes ago, is we need to find things that could inspire people to get engaged.
Yeah,
Yes, because we have to believe in humanity, believe that we are people, and when others that resemble us, that or like us, need help, we need to be there to participate, to encourage. And this is where changes come. It's not something that comes from the sky and just fall down. It's something
definitely.
you have to work for. And if you do not like something, you do not want something, you're the one who has to make the, the 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 engagement or do the work, so that doesn't happen anymore. That has to change, and you have to get involved, so that can happen.
Well, actually, you probably don't know, but us in the report out, we started last year to we did some. So we funded some activists everywhere in the world, and we helped them doing some campaigns. You know, because as you said, it's it's people it's people who have to get involved to make things change. And I think people sometimes not sometimes, all the time, if you can get some help and guidance how to how to get people involved, as you said, this is how we're gonna get to a better place where we can all live together without having to any discrimination or anything. So we started last year, and I think it's a great thing to do, because in a lot of countries we found out that there's no help for activists, and so we try to help as we can. But it's that's why one of the reasons why we're doing as well this interview is just to show to people that every country is different, and every country has its own issues, and it's not a lot of people don't know, and I think it's great to have people like you, and to show that people like you are struggling, but you also doing a great job, and that's the point for this interview, just to put a light on all the great job, because you're doing an amazing job, and you're helping a lot of people, and without people like you in the organization, well, we couldn't do that. Thank you, because to be honest, for me, it's really it's just amazing to see people like you, and because you're really doing great job in different and difficult places, and so yeah, that's on to you.
In difficult places, but it has to be done.
But you said something is that I even write down. It's like you said that we are all sharing the same name, and it's true. This there was a beautiful thing that you said. Yeah, it's true. We all sharing the same name. Why is the why that was I think it was a great thing that you said, and that's why I even wrote it down, because I thought it was a beautiful thing to say.
I hope that my peers, they do realize that one day, that we are all human. There's no difference between all of us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Dominique, and I'm going to stop the recording, and thank you, and we will put, of course, your organization link in the video. Yeah, I'm just going to stop the. Thank you for joining us and for sharing your great work.